All right, ARCA at Concord. What a weird one. So I'm going to go up to 12 to 1. I'll go minus 10 on the steering offset and brake bias. I'm only going to go down to 65 because turn 3 especially, and actually sometimes turn 1 too, on the brake, the car just doesn't love to keep the rear under it. So I'm just going to go to 65 because I don't think going much lower is going to do much. But there might be some short track fiends who can run that 60, as is usually the case for these short tracks. But for me personally, I'm going to do 65. So first lap, second lap should work too. So we're going to give ourselves a couple chances at it. So I'm going to set up here, and I might just go full focus mode, not talk much for the lap. That's decent, actually. So we'll stick with that lap. I probably could have gotten a little more time out of it pushing turn 1, but that should be a decent time. What's the track temp? 79. So yeah, that should be pretty close. Okay. So going into the out lap here, you don't want to go up too high because you can kind of tell that way up top is kind of no man's land. And there's not really much run up anyways because we're going to be topping out in fourth gear and there's not much straightaway anyways to take advantage of it. So I'm just going to do a middle line, turn a little bit down on exit and just try to get them full throttle as soon as possible. And then almost right away. So here's the motto of the day is don't overdrive corner entry because Concord invites you to overdrive entry into all 3 corners and it's just bad news every time. So right after the start finish line, I'm on the brake. I'm going to be mostly trail braking into turn 1 just because you see how I'm already turning the wheel. If I was able to keep the wheel a little bit straighter under my initial stab, I would bring it up to like 40% and maybe drive it in a little bit deeper, but that is fine, but this does the trick as well. So I'm trying to late apex turn 1. You can see that I don't get down to the curb until the yellow line is almost gone. I even maybe wanted to turn down a little bit later and have a little bit better angle that allows me to keep it straight off the corner, but this is fine too. This is kind of a more consistent way to do it. So you don't want to hit the curb too early, or you don't want to get down the yellow line too early. About halfway through the corner, once you hit that yellow, just kind of aim not at the wall. You want to be as far away from this white wall as possible off the corner while still maintaining your speed. So I'm getting to half throttle because my wheel is still completely turned. And then as I'm able to unload my wheel a little bit, I'm going to go up on the throttle. But you notice I never go above half. Why? Because I don't want to slide up to this white wall here because I'm not going to have time to come back down the track again. So I go half throttle. I just wait for the car to turn. I actually just treat turn 1 and 2 at Concord like one singular turn. So let's just watch that whole 1 and 2 sequence and see how I treat this as one turn. So trail brake. Once I get to the bottom, I get my throttle, and then I just hold that throttle until it turns back down. And then I only full throttle once I hit my second apex in turn 2. So don't try to go full throttle in between turn 1 and turn 2. There's no reason to. It doesn't make you faster. It makes you handle worse, and you miss your mark every time. So just hold that line, and then just let the car tell you when it wants to go to the bottom, when you're going half throttle, and then get aggressive coming off of turn 2. But guess what? We can't overdrive entrance to turn 3 either. You're like, sweet, I just carried a ton of speed through turn 2. Now let's see what I can do with it. No, because you notice I'm only full throttle until I get my car on the straightaway. The moment my car is on this really short straightaway, I'm already easing off the throttle and getting onto the brake. I'm able to get on the brake a little bit harder because my steering wheel is a little bit straighter here. And then I trail brake into the corner. And then my goal is just to kind of wrap this yellow line for as long as possible and make our straight line exit alpha 3. You notice that you could think that I could throttle earlier than I do, but I'm really trying to make it so that I don't have to like turn myself 90 degrees off the wall at the last second. I'm really just trying to wrap this yellow line until I'm able to full throttle, or at least bring up the throttle and have a more or less straight line exit compared to what you could do. It's very easy to throttle too early into turn 3 and then just instantly slide up the track and not have a good exit. And you lose like 0.2 of a second because I'm like shortcutting it right here and I'm not having to break my momentum, just keep it off the wall. So I know I kind of glossed through turn 2, but that's because, in my opinion, it's more of just an extension of turn 1. So, again, one more time. Hold throttle, let the car tell you when it wants to come down. Once you get to the apex, you throttle a little bit through the apex, but right when we get on the straightaway, we're rolling off the throttle already. Stab the brake if your wheel is straight, and then drag it along the yellow line. Keep it there as long as you can, and then throttle up off the corner as straight as you can. All right. Now, long run, line is going to be the same, and everything that I talked about is just going to be more important, right? We don't want to get our car loose. We don't want to get our car plowing tight every corner. I don't think I care too much if the car is tight, because this short track combo tends to be more about the rear than the front, and I'm already losing concentration because I'm talking. But just look how early I'm going to be taking everything. Okay. That was a little bit too early. Honestly, this is one of the hardest tracks to drive and talk on. But you notice that my goal is to just get the car to the yellow line every corner. Early. Oh, a little bit on the curb. Oopsie. But the whole goal is to run these lines without sliding our rear tire at all. And this should be pretty single groove. All right, now we're getting serious, right? So just hold at half throttle, let the car come back down. And you see I just go through it. Once I'm on the straightaway, roll off, get on the brake, roll it along the yellow, pick up the throttle when I'm able to get it straight up off the corner, and don't overdrive one. Then hold half throttle until it turns back down. Then full throttle for like a... I don't think I'm even gonna go full throttle in that sequence in the race. There's no real reason to. I can full throttle here. I'm only in the front stretch I think I'm gonna full throttle. Turn 1 and 2, it's just... It does you no different. So it's just about keeping consistent with the car under you. Maybe late apexing 1 a little bit more is going to help me. It's kind of scary to late apex 1 because if you miss it, you're going to be super sliding. A little bit overdriven the turn 3 there. As long as you're disciplined and don't overdrive corners and slide your rear tires a lot, each lap is going to feel pretty much the same over the course of the run. Your lap time might get a little slower, but that's just going to be because you're going to have to wait a little bit longer on the car. In terms of how the car feels, it should feel the same throughout the whole run, I say as I hit the wall. But you can see this is a tough track. You just have to keep that line in mind, stick to it, and don't let yourself mentally falter to where you start overdriving the corner, because everything comes at you so quickly at this track. It's insane. And you'll see here. Now, the tire wear isn't going to be much of an issue. It's more about managing the tire heat, especially in your rear tire. But your front tire could take a beating too if you're not careful. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.